William Desmond Taylor wasn't just any Hollywood director. He was the man who helped create the movie industry as we know it. But on February 1st, 1922, someone walked into his home and shot him in the back, silencing him forever. What happened next was perhaps even more shocking than the murder itself. A systematic cover-up involving some of the biggest names in Hollywood, evidence that mysteriously disappeared, and a case that the LAPD botched so badly that we're still trying to piece together the truth today. This is the story of a murder that Hollywood tried to bury, but couldn't quite manage to forget. But before we dive in, this video contains violence and murder. It is intended for mature audiences, so viewer discretion is strongly advised. As always, remember to hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on post notifications to stay up to date with the channel. Alright, let's dive into the video. William Desmond Taylor wasn't born with that name. He entered the world as William Cunningham Dean Tanner on April 26, 1872, in Carlow, Ireland. His family was Anglo-Irish, well off, with a father who was a retired British Army major. Expectations were high. William was supposed to follow a disciplined path, perhaps even join the military. But discipline wasn't in his blood. He was a dreamer, a restless soul who didn't fit the mold his family carved for him. At 18, after failing an Army entrance exam, William was sent to a reform school in Kansas, a harsh pivot for a boy raised in privilege. Some say it was punishment. Others believe his father thought the American frontier would toughen him up. Kansas was a world away from Carlow's manicured estates. William worked on a ranch learning to ride and rope, but he didn't stay long. By the late 1890s, he was in New York City, trying his hand at acting. It was there he met Ethel May Harrison, a stage actress from a respectable family. They married in 1901 and soon had a daughter, Ethel Daisy. For a moment, it seemed William had found stability. But stability wasn't William's destiny. In 1908, he vanished. No note, no warning, just gone. Ethel and their daughter were left behind, confused and heartbroken. Some whispered he'd suffered a mental breakdown or amnesia. Others believed he was running from debts or a secret he couldn't face. For years, his whereabouts were a mystery, until 1912, when he resurfaced in Los Angeles under a new name, William Desmond Taylor. The man who'd once been a failed soldier, a ranch hand, and a struggling actor was about to become one of Hollywood's most respected directors. Hollywood in the 1910s was a boomtown, a chaotic mix of dreamers, hustlers, and pioneers. Silent films were exploding, and Taylor was at the forefront. He directed over 60 films, working with stars like Mary Pickford Wallace Reid and Mabel Normand. His films were polished, his reputation impeccable. He wasn't just a director, he was a gentleman in an industry often seen as crass. As president of the Motion Picture Directors Association, he brought a touch of class to Hollywood's Wild West. But beneath the tailored suits and charming smile, Taylor carried secrets that would draw dangerous people into his orbit. William Desmond Taylor was a man of contradictions. To the public, he was a success story, a self-made auteur. But his past, his real name, his abandoned family, his sudden disappearance from New York, hinted at a man running from something. Was it guilt, shame, or something more sinister? As we'll see, the people around him had their own shadows, and those shadows were about to collide. It's February 1st, 1922, a chilly night in Los Angeles. The city is alive with the hum of ambition, but in the quiet enclave of Alvarado Court, time feels slower. William Desmond Taylor's bungalow at 404B. South Alvarado Street is a haven of sophistication, polished wood floors, bookshelves lined with classics, and a silver and cut glass drinking set gleaming in the lamplight. That evening, Taylor wasn't alone. He had a visitor, Mabel Normand, one of Hollywood's brightest stars. Mabel Normand was a sensation, a comedian whose charm lit up the screen. She and Taylor were close, though the nature of their relationship is murky. Some say they were lovers. Others insist they were just friends who shared a love of literature and quiet evenings. That night they sipped orange blossom gin cocktails, illegal during Prohibition, and Mabel played the piano, filling the bungalow with music. It was a scene of warmth, almost domestic, until it wasn't. Around 7:45 p.m., Taylor walked Mabel to her car, driven by her chauffeur, William Davis. They blew kisses as she drove off, a playful gesture that felt like the end of a perfect evening. It was the last time anyone, except the killer, saw William Desmond Taylor alive. Just minutes later, around 8 p.m., a sound like a car backfire echoed through the courtyard. Faith McLean, a neighbor and wife of actor Douglas McLean, heard it from her apartment. Curious, she glanced out her window and saw a figure leaving Taylor's bungalow. Faith described the figure as a man, about 5'10", wearing a heavy coat and a cap. But something about the way they moved felt off. The figure didn't run or seem panicked. They walked deliberately, almost calmly into the night. Faith thought little of it at the time. Cars backfired often in 1922. But the next morning, everything would change. February 2nd, 1922, Henry Peavy, Taylor's valet and cook, arrived at the bungalow around 7:30 a.m. He expected to prepare breakfast and draw a bath, as he did every morning. Instead, he found his employer lying face up on the living room floor, a pool of blood beneath him. Peavy's screams woke the neighborhood. Neighbors rushed in, followed by police, but the scene was already chaotic. Studio executives from Paramount, where Taylor worked, were there before the cops, rifling through drawers and removing papers. Someone, likely a studio fixer, called it a natural death. But when police turned Taylor's body over, they found a bullet hole in his back. This was no heart attack, this was murder. The crime scene was a detective's nightmare. Cash, $78, a decent sum in 1922, was left on Taylor's desk, ruling out robbery. The silver drinking set sat untouched, suggesting no struggle. The bullet, a .38 caliber, had entered just below his neck, piercing his heart. The angle suggested Taylor was shot from behind, possibly while embracing someone or turning away. 6 cigarette stubs were found in the alley outside, hinting someone had been watching the bungalow. This wasn't a random act. It felt personal, calculated. But who had a motive strong enough to kill one of Hollywood's most respected men? The murder of William Desmond Taylor didn't just shake Hollywood, it exposed its secrets. The early 1920s were a turbulent time for the film industry. The Roscoe Fatty Arbuckle scandal, where the comedian was accused of rape and manslaughter, had already put studios on edge. Drug overdoses, like that of actress Olive Thomas, fueled moral outrage. Taylor's death was a lightning rod, and the press pounced, spinning tales of debauchery and betrayal. The list of suspects grew longer by the day, each one more enigmatic than the last. Mabel Normand was the last person to see Taylor alive, making her suspect number 1. At 29, she was a star, known for her roles in Keystone comedies alongside Charlie Chaplin. But her life was unraveling. Mabel struggled with cocaine addiction exacerbated by a string of personal tragedies. In 1920, Taylor had convinced her to enter a sanatorium to get clean, a move that painted him as a protector or a meddler. Some speculated they were lovers, others believed Taylor was trying to shield her from drug dealers who supplied Hollywood's elite. Could one of those dealers, angry at Taylor's interference, have targeted him? Mabel's alibi was rock solid. Her chauffeur confirmed she left around 7:45 p.m., and neighbors saw her car pull away. But the press didn't care. They hounded her, publishing stories about her drug use and alleged love affair with Taylor. A bag of cocaine was reportedly found in her purse that night, though police never confirmed it. Mabel's career tanked after the scandal, and she died of tuberculosis in 1930, still defending her innocence. Was she a victim of circumstance, or did she know more than she let on? Then there's Mary Miles Minter, a 20-year-old starlet who seemed to embody the ingenue archetype. Born Juliet Riley, she'd been molded into a star by her mother, Charlotte Shelby, a former actress with a reputation for ruthlessness. Mary starred in Taylor's films like Anne of Green Gables and developed a fixation on him. Her love letters found in Taylor's bungalow were obsessive, filled with declarations like, "I love you, I love you, I love you." A handkerchief with her initials MMM and a pink silk nightgown were also found, sparking rumors of an affair. Mary claimed she and Taylor were engaged, but there's no evidence he returned her feelings. He was 49, she was 20, a gap that raised eyebrows even in 1922. Her mother, Charlotte, was a force to be reckoned with. Known as a stage mother from hell, she controlled every aspect of Mary's life, from her roles to her friendships. When she learned of Mary's obsession with Taylor, she was furious. Charlotte had once threatened another director, James Kirkwood, for getting too close to Mary, even pulling a gun on him. Could she have confronted Taylor too? Years later, in an unpublished autobiography, Mary claimed she and Charlotte were at Taylor's bungalow that night. She said they left before the murder, but her story was inconsistent. A witness tied to Charlotte's alibi, a maid named Margaret Purdy, later received large sums of money from Charlotte's accounts. Hush money, perhaps. And then there's the figure Faith McLean saw. Could Charlotte, disguised as a man in a long coat and cap, have shot Taylor in a fit of rage? The theory fits, but it's not airtight. Edward Sands was Taylor's former valet, and if anyone had a motive, it was him. Born Edward Snyder in Ohio, Sands was a con artist with a knack for reinvention. He posed as a British Cockney, complete with a fake accent. But his past was checkered, deserting the Navy, forging checks and stealing from employers. In 1921, he worked for Taylor only to betray him. Sands stole Taylor's car, pawned his jewelry, and forged checks under the name William Dean Tanner, Taylor's real name. Did Sands know Taylor's secret past and use it for blackmail? Sands vanished the day of the murder, quitting a job in Northern California without explanation. Police tracked him as far as Sacramento, but the trail went cold. Was he the figure in the alley, smoking those cigarettes and waiting for his moment? Blackmailers don't always kill, but Sands had a history of violence. The problem is, no one could find him. He was a ghost, slipping through the cracks. Henry Peavy, Taylor's current valet, was the first to find the body, but he wasn't above suspicion. A black man in the 1920s Los Angeles, Peavy faced prejudice that colored how police and the press viewed him. He'd been arrested for soliciting young boys in a park, a charge Taylor helped him beat by posting bail. Some wondered if Peavy resented Taylor's control over him, or if he knew too much about his boss's private life. A reporter named Floribel Muir even staged a bizarre stunt, taking Peavy to Taylor's grave and claiming to channel his spirit to scare a confession out of him. It didn't work. Peavy was questioned for hours, but no evidence tied him to the crime. His grief seemed genuine, and he had no clear motive. Still, his presence at the scene and his troubled past kept him in the headlines, a convenient scapegoat for a city eager for answers. And then there's a wild card, Margaret Gibson, an actress who worked with Taylor in his early Hollywood days. By 1922, her career had faded, and she'd fallen into a life of petty crime, arrests for prostitution and extortion. In 1964, living under the name Patricia Palmer, Gibson suffered a heart attack. On her deathbed, she called for a priest and confessed, "I killed William Desmond Taylor." Her neighbor, who overheard, said she seemed lucid but terrified. Was it a genuine confession, or the delusion of a dying woman seeking forgiveness? No evidence linked her to the crime, but her words linger like a ghost. before we continue on. If you are enjoying the video so far, please remember to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. And if you don't like it, let me know down in the comments. Your support truly means everything. All right, back to the video. The investigation into Taylor's murder was doomed from the start. By the time police arrived, the bungalow was a circus. Paramount executives, including Charles Ayton, the studio's general manager, were already there, removing letters, bottles of illegal liquor, and who knows what else. They even told Henry Peavy to clean up the blood before detectives could secure the scene. Why the rush? Hollywood was fighting for its life. The Arbuckle trial had sparked calls for censorship, and groups like the Women's Christian Temperance Union were demanding the industry be shut down. A murder tied to drugs, affairs, or blackmail could be the final nail in the coffin. The police were left with scraps. The .38 caliber bullet suggested a revolver, common in 1922. The angle, entering low and exiting high, implied Taylor was shot from behind, possibly while embracing someone or turning away. The cigarette stubs in the alley hinted at a stakeout, but whose? Fingerprints were non-existent, and the studio's meddling destroyed any hope of preserving evidence. The press didn't help. They published Mary's love letters, claimed Taylor had a secret closet full of women's lingerie, and even tied him to occultist Aleister Crowley, a baseless rumor that sold papers. Then came the bombshell. William Desmond Taylor wasn't who he claimed to be. Reporters dug up his real name, William Dean Tanner, and his abandoned family in New York. His brother, Dennis Dean Tanner, had also vanished years earlier, leaving a wife and children. Some have speculated Dennis was involved, but he was never found. The revelation fueled theories of blackmail. Had someone from Taylor's past tracked him down? Was his reinvention in Hollywood a facade hiding enemies he couldn't outrun? In 1967, director King Vidor, a contemporary of Taylor's, took it upon himself to solve the case for a planned film. His findings, detailed in Sidney Kirkpatrick's book, A Cast of Killers, pointed to Charlotte Shelby. Vidor believed she shot Taylor, possibly disguised as a man, to protect Mary from a scandalous affair. He claimed Paramount orchestrated a cover-up, burying evidence to save their stars and the industry. But Vidor never made the film. He locked his notes in a strong box and told friends he feared stirring up trouble. Was he scared of powerful figures still tied to the case, or was the truth too complex to tell? So who killed William Desmond Taylor? The theories are as varied as Hollywood's cast of characters. Let's break them down. Charlotte Shelby is a strong contender. Her possessive nature, Mary's presence at the bungalow, and the mysterious payments to her maid suggest she had means, motive, and opportunity. Could she have dressed as a man to confront Taylor, only for things to spiral out of control? Edward Sands is another possibility. His blackmail potential and sudden disappearance are damning, but his absence from the scene leaves gaps. Mabel Norman's drug connections raise the specter of a hired hit, though her alibi holds firm. Henry Peavy's troubled past makes him a long shot, and Margaret Gibson's deathbed confession while chilling lacks evidence. Then there's a darker theory, one that slinks through Hollywood's underbelly. In his book, A Deed of Death, Robert Giroux argues Taylor was targeted by drug lords. Hollywood in the 1920s was awash in cocaine and heroin, and Taylor, a moralist at heart, reportedly wanted to clean up the industry. Was he a white knight, as Giroux suggests, or just a man who crossed the wrong people? Another rumor, less substantiated, touches on Taylor's sexuality. Some claim he was gay and the lingerie stories were a studio ploy to hide it. Could a scorned lover or blackmailer have pulled the trigger? There's even a theory that ties the murder to Taylor's military connections. His brother Dennis had served in the British Army, and some speculated William was involved in intelligence work during World War I. Could his death have been a hit tied to espionage? It's far-fetched, but in a case this murky, nothing can be ruled out. The cigarette stubs, the compromised crime scene, the studio's interference, all of it points to a truth deliberately buried. If you made it through this deep dive, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more, then check out these videos on the screen now. If you have a topic suggestion, please send it to the email in the description. And as always, remember to like, comment, share the video, and subscribe to our channel. And remember, the only thing scarier than this story is missing out on our next video.